So GitHub Copilot is showing up on engineering teams everywhere, right? It's becoming a core member of the team. But as you scale it out, how do you make sure it's a consistent, reliable teammate and not just a source of, well, creative chaos? Okay, let's dive into that and figure out how to build a real governance model for your AI assistant. All right, so here's what we're going to cover. We'll kick things off with the problem, what happens with unmanaged AI. Then we'll build up a layered governance framework, piece by piece. We'll look at setting boundaries, shaping its behavior, and then actually validating Copilot's work. And finally, we'll see what a fully governed AI teammate really looks like in action.
So let's set the stage. When you just roll out a powerful tool like Copilot without any kind of strategy, you're not just getting code suggestions. A lot of the time, you're getting a whole lot of inconsistency.
And that really is the core question, isn't it? I mean, think about it. A great teammate understands your team's rules, your conventions, your context. A chaotic intern? Well, they mean well, but their output is totally unpredictable, they don't know the established patterns, and you end up constantly cleaning up after them. Without any governance, Copilot can easily drift into that second category. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the Wild West. Every developer is kind of improvising, getting different quality results, and nobody's reusing the patterns that actually work. But on the right, with a governed model, now you're talking repeatable workflows, consistent adherence to your standards, and real organizational reuse of best practices. It's a night and day difference.
And this quote from the source material just nails the strategic challenge. The real issue isn't whether Copilot can write code. Of course it can. The problem is that inconsistency creates real business risks, variance in quality, drifting away from security policies, and just a total inability to scale up your best practices.
Okay, so we get the problem. The solution isn't to lock the tool down, but to teach it the rules of the road. So let's start building out that formal framework.
The approach we're going to dig into is this formal context governance model. And the key thing to get here is that this is not about building some brand new, custom AI platform from scratch. No way. It's an engineering governance initiative that focuses on controlling Copilot's context, its behavior, and its execution using the features that GitHub already provides.
Now, what's really cool is how this visualizes the whole governance stack. We start at the top with the big, broad administrative rules, and then we get more and more specific as we go down. We move from what Copilot can see to how it should behave, and finally to how its work actually gets validated. This is basically our roadmap for the next few minutes.
First things first, setting the foundational boundaries. Before you can tell it how to behave, you gotta define the playing field.
Think of this as your mission control, your 10,000-foot view. Before a single line of code is ever suggested, the org owners can set the ground rules. Who even gets to use Copilot? Should they have access to the chat feature or just code completion? This is your first and most powerful layer of governance because it defines the absolute boundaries for everyone.
Okay, this is a really crucial point. Governance isn't just about what you feed Copilot, it's also about what you tell it to flat out ignore. Content exclusion is an incredibly powerful control to stop Copilot from learning from or suggesting code based on sensitive, irrelevant, or even deprecated parts of your codebase.
And here are some classic examples of what you'd want to exclude. I mean, you absolutely do not want Copilot learning from folders with secrets or API keys. That's a no-brainer. It's also super smart to have it ignore auto-generated code, third-party libraries you don't control, and especially that old legacy code you're trying to phase out. Every single exclusion you add makes Copilot smarter, safer, and more focused on what actually matters.
All right, with the boundaries in place, now we can move to the really fun part, actively shaping how Copilot thinks and acts so that it aligns with your team's standards.
What's really smart is how GitHub sets up this hierarchy for instructions. An organization can set a baseline for everyone, which is great. But then a specific repository can provide more detailed, project-specific context. And at the very top, an individual developer's personal instructions take the highest priority. So you get both centralized control and individual flexibility. It's the best of both worlds.
And this little cheat sheet is super handy. You can see how you can give repository-wide instructions in a simple Markdown file. You can get even more granular with path-specific instructions, or you can create these specialized custom agents. And it's all managed with simple files right inside your .github directory.
Custom agents are a massive leap forward for governance. Seriously, instead of hoping every developer writes the perfect prompt every single time, you can build specialized agents that already know your team's rules. They basically become reusable, role-based teammates designed for very specific jobs.
Just imagine this for a second. You could have a code review agent that's already an expert in all your security policies in your team's style guide. Or what about an onboarding agent that helps new hires get up to speed by explaining your architecture? This is how you take all that tribal knowledge from your team and bake it directly into your AI assistant.
Okay, now for the final layer of control, validation. You've told it what to do, but how do you make sure that what Copilot wants to do is actually allowed to run? This is where you enforce policy at runtime.
Hooks are an incredibly powerful way to do this. They let you run your own custom scripts at these key moments in the agent's lifecycle. Think of them like little checkpoints or security gates that can inspect, modify, or even just flat out block an agent's actions before they ever happen.
So what can you do with these? Well, imagine an agent suggests running a pretty risky shell command. Nope. A hook can automatically deny it. Or, right before a commit is made, a hook can scan for secrets to prevent leaks. You can enforce custom linting rules specific to your company or add detailed audit logs for compliance. This is your ultimate safety net.
And finally, the last piece of the puzzle is the environment itself. Context isn't just the code, it's the operational world the agent lives in. By defining a standard environment, you control exactly which tools, packages, and secrets are available to Copilot. This prevents all kinds of unexpected behavior and ensures every run is deterministic and reproducible, just like your production builds.
So let's bring it all together. When you stack all these layers of governance on top of each other, you're fundamentally changing Copilot from this unpredictable tool into a truly consistent and reliable teammate.
This final quote just sums up the goal perfectly. You establish a governed, reusable standard. You're not just getting code anymore. You're getting code that is generated within the boundaries you've defined, shaped by the behaviors you've taught it, and validated by the rules you enforce.
And that leaves us with this final thought. AI is no longer just a tool, it's a teammate. But just like any new hire, it has to be onboarded, it has to be trained, and it has to be managed. So the question isn't if you should govern your AI anymore, it's who on your team is going to be responsible for teaching it the rules.